Today on the Rise of the Challenge podcast.
It kind of funny the way it switches up at the end, and so it hooked really well, and I think that's what propelled it, and that's what kind of kicked it off as a thing. That was the song where I thought, all right, yeah, this could be the job. Like, this could be a job at this point. Like, I would do this. I would write, because even doing the covers and thinking I love this stuff. I never saw music as like a career path as much as I want to.
Welcome to the Rise of the Challenge podcast. Joined today is a singer and songwriter. It's Malachi Gagnon. How are you doing today, Malachi?
Good. How you doing, man?
Doing good. We are so excited to have you on the show to talk about your Rise to the Challenge. What we like to do with all of our guests is go right to the beginning. Talk about where you're from and what have you like doing growing up?
Yeah, I'm from a smaller town. Well, I guess a bigger town in a small state. So I'm from New Hampshire, Dover, New Hampshire. I grew up there, lived there for 10 years. Uh, yeah, I love it here. This is my favorite place to be. I moved to Florida for 5 years, which was enough. Florida's great. I lived in the Tampa area, right outside of it, which is an amazing area. Love it there. A lot of good opportunities. But I love seasons. So having like more than just warm and less warm is kind of nice. You have like the full range here. It's my favorite place on earth.
With growing up in New Hampshire, what is something maybe listeners don't know about New Hampshire that's like their signature thing or your town's signature item?
Very little to do. Um, but yeah, it's kind of like just kind of hang out with your friends at your house or at Walmart. So, but I'd say like our signature thing, I think it's kind of big, would be like the foliage, which is one of my favorite things, is like the leaves changing color, because you can drive like way up north, and
Mhm.
it's like there's no cities, you get like very small towns, and it's beautiful.
Did that give you that passion for being outside? Like, did you enjoy doing outdoor activities and things like that? Because of, you talked about how your town's small. I love the comment of you either find people at Walmart, because usually for me it was, you find everyone at the mall. That was the thing. And now malls are like
Yeah,
non-existent anymore.
I still go. I go at least once a week. I don't even shop. I just walk around. It's fun. It's fun to be there. You know, I did it a lot as like a kid. We would go like younger, and then it kind of died out, especially with the pandemic and stuff. And so now that they're not really making a comeback like other things are, it's kind of tough to go out there. But I still do it. I still do it.
When do you feel that music really started playing a big part in your life?
It's always kind of been there. I do everything listening to music. I mean, it's on 24/7. Uh, I always have to charge my earbuds because I like they will die so fast. But I'd say it started playing a big role. Um, what is it, 2024? So 4 years ago, in 2020, during the pandemic, I was really bored, and so I was like, what are we gonna do? So I grabbed this like plastic Walmart guitar, and just started like learning from Marty Schwartz on YouTube, just doing like whatever I can to learn a chord, and yeah, I fell in love with playing the guitar, and I was like, all right, this is it's pretty cool. So I played the guitar for a little bit, and then did like a family talent show with this other family that we're really close with, and they were like, "You can sing." I'm like, "That's right." Like, I'd only sung in the shower or in the back of the car where it's drowned out, so I didn't really know that. Like, I didn't think I had that ability. I'd always loved to like sing along to songs, but not in front of people. I always had like a stage fright. Um, but I started playing a lot more, playing on social media, so like TikTok, Instagram, doing my little videos of cover songs, and I did that for a while, and then I was pretty connected through the church, so I was able to play on stage with them for the first time, and that was a huge. I played like a single verse of a song, and I was so excited because I had overcome that like fear of being in front of people. Even though it's something that I love to do, it's just doing it in
Mhm.
front of other people is like the most horrifying thing ever.
Yeah.
And so being able to have like this opportunity to grow and give back to the guy who gave it to me, is really, really special. So I'd say probably around 2020, it became like this big um, thing in my life that was more than just a hobby, even. It started out as that kind of like a little thing I do sometimes, and it became this big, it kind of jumped really fast into this big, like, I mean, almost like a purpose, kind of like this is what I love doing, and I want to do this till I die, kind of thing.
Was there a genre or music inspiration that you had? Sometimes growing up, your family might introduce you into certain artists, certain genres, or you might grow up hearing certain types of music and certain everyday things. What was that for you?
Yeah, it was worship music and country music, which was a big part. And so, I mean, get in the Jeep and you drive around listening to country music, especially in New England. It's pretty great here. And just kind of listening to, I mean, at that point it was whatever came on, but mostly country music. Some the bro country that was big then. I would have been like, yeah, early like 2000 to 2015, that kind of country music. So like Florida Georgia Line and
Yep.
early Morgan Wallen would be like the big influences there, and then some Shawn Mendes even. I listened
Oh,
to a lot of him, which is such a weird like stray, but
total opposites in a way.
yeah, yeah. But I always had like an admiration for pop music melodies, but the heart behind the writing in country music. And so that's where I started out was with pop country. My first song was a little more pop than country, but I would do yeah, I did pop country for the first 9 songs, and switched up recently with the 10th one. But I mean, we'll probably talk about that later.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, it would have been country music and worship music were a really big part of my life.
So that first song you are deciding to write, do you have an idea of what is the theme for it? Are you using an experience as that first song? What was going through your mind for that?
So the first one was Craving Me. That was kind of my favorite one that I'd ever written. Like I had written a couple like songs that a kid would write.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And I wrote Craving Me and I showed my dad and he's like, "Oh, okay, that's you know, I didn't really have a inspiration behind it. It was kind of like just through other people talking about relationships, what I see on TV. So it was kind of like this like over exaggerated version of a breakup, but I guess positive in a way. Um, yeah, I didn't really have a personal inspiration behind that one other than like I want to write about a breakup. Like country people do that, so
Yep.
it's gonna be a breakup song. Okay, we're gonna kick it off with a breakup song.
When your dad saw what you were writing, you kind of gave like a kind of his reaction. Was he kind of nervous on the things that you were talking about in that song? Like, what is Malachi watching or hearing about breakups? Because, like you mentioned, a lot of songs nowadays are about breakup, but you kind of pinpointed where the exaggeration for them, where they're kind of taken way out of proportion. There's certain artists that do that because their fan bases are going to love it. What was
Oh, for
that
sure.
his reaction for as young you were creating?
Yeah, I was oh my gosh. Oh, I have to do math here. I think 14 when I wrote that one. And so, I had just started like exiting like that. I was homeschooled. So I had just started leaving the Disney Channel, like shows stuff. The reason the, I don't talk about this a lot because it's kind of strange, but the real reason I got into like music, like kind of like, you know, creating it was because of Austin and Ally, which was a show on Disney Channel that I
Okay.
loved as a kid, rewatched during the pandemic, and was like, all right, Austin can get girls with the guitar. I can dye my hair blonde. We're halfway there. Like we got this. So the Disney Channel shows weirdly glorify relationships,
Yeah.
um, for the audience that they have. but just watching that stuff, listening to country music. So he was more like it makes sense why I read about that, but at the same time, he was like, oh, like, all right, that's. He was more shocked about the um the writing itself rather than like the story, because it kind of was a little ahead of my time, which I always have been a little like um more mature, I guess, in a way, uh, with thinking and stuff. And so writing like that was, he was like, okay, wow, he can do that. That's pretty cool.
Was that song the first song you really posted on social media that kind of got attention, or what song really got you out there?
Mm. It's hard. It's been a while. Um, I'd say that one did like surprisingly well. I did a lot of covers before that, so having like the that fan base kind of already set up for doing the covers. So they I was always getting asked like, can you like do your own stuff? You should write a song. You should put out a song from friends, family, people on Instagram, TikTok, and it's like, all right. So that kind of like pushed it. I think that would be it did surprisingly well, but I think Psychopath kind of like my second song um, propelled it a little more. People like were engaged in what I was doing and through that song and stuff. And that way, that one was pretty intense for writing. That one, my dad was shocked about too. That he was, he was that one. He was like, "Wow, all right," because it kind of just blatantly calls the girl crazy, and using a word that usually isn't put in many songs. You've seen a couple do it, um, but usually you don't blatantly call somebody absolutely nuts. But I kind of went for it, and it switches up because like I'm talking about how I want this person back, like I love her, but at the same time she's crazy, and so that I think the message related to people. It was a little bit it kind of funny the way it switches up at the end. And so it hooked really well, and I think that's what propelled it, and that's what kind of kicked it off as like a thing. I That was the song where I thought, all right, yeah, yeah, this could be the job. Like this could be a job at this point. Like I would do this. I would write because even doing the covers and thinking I love this stuff. I never saw music as like a career path as much as I want to play music forever. I was always kind of cover, which works. A lot of people do cover artist stuff, but it wasn't really my passion to just do covers. And so that song was really real to me. It was more than just an experiment like Craving Me was, where it was like, all right, let's, you know, throw something at the wall and see like if I love this, if it is what I want to do, and I liked it. So we did it again, and I was like, this, I love this, and it's like it became like a real passion, and the response to it was really special too. So
You kind of brought up a great point. If you weren't doing music, what was that dream job that you were wanting growing up?
I wanted to play golf.
Okay.
So I had two kind of paths. I wanted to um, work in like investigation, so detective work, kind of that stuff. I don't know, like private or whatever. I can't remember, but I knew I wanted to. That's what I want to do. But the dream was to play PGA, and I was on a good track to do so. I I worked really hard at golf, but once I started playing music, I kind of gave it up. I picked up recently, which is good. I've been playing quite a bit recently because I love the sport, and it still is like I just adore to get out. You can just not think about anything when you're on the course, right? So you can just like I mean this whole like the worst thing could be happening to you, but you can still get on the course and be like, all right, let's think about golf. All right, let's just lock in on that one thing. And it's really easy to do that because if you have a bad round, you're upset about it, and if you have a good round, you're like, look at me. So but I was planning on doing golf for the longest time until I stopped playing because of music.
You talked about picking it back up. Do you have that course that's that dream course you want to go play? I mean, you got plenty more years.
I mean, yeah, of course, like St. Andrews is kind of like I want to go Scotland.
I
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I was pretty confident, but now I'm scared. But but I want to go. I specifically want to play Saint. Like that's. I know it's probably a generic answer to a degree, but at the same time, it's real. Like that is a really cool course. It's beautiful. It's the oldest one in the world. So to play there, or the one in Jupiter that like is the like PGA course. I forget what it's called, but that one's pretty cool.
I can't even think of which one that one
I
is.
can't. Yeah.
See, I'm not a golfer. I will go golfing because it's a good like hangout kind of activity. But if I had to pick one, it's Pebble Beach. Like just
That
going
yes.
on whatever hole it is, but that's literally the coast is right there going
It's
across the
beautiful.
fairway. I mean,
Yeah,
it's you kind of talked about with growing up in New Hampshire, the outdoors. Golf cannot get more outdoors unless you're going to a Top Golf, and that's a different story. But it's purely you're in nature when you're playing golf.
mm. Yeah. I That's one of the things I do like about it because it gets you out. You get to go do stuff. I've gotten my friends into it, which is good. They all had like clubs, and I was like, guys, I have an idea. Like let's go do this. You mentioned Topgolf. I just went there on Friday night for my birthday.
Oh,
I went with a couple of friends. Yeah, we went to the Topgolf. It's in I think Canton, which is in Massachusetts. They just put it up, and I'm so excited because they had one in Florida that I went to, and I was bummed when I like came here, and I was like, well, that's one
I
thing
mean,
I'm gonna
they're
miss.
popping
But
up everywhere.
yeah, they're
We,
fast.
I'm in Missouri and we just got our second one, and they're like probably a good 20, 25 minutes from each other. But listeners, I'm not hating on Top Golf. It's so fun, but it's like it's something different than being out on that course than being confined in like a driving range area. But Top Golf is still fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. I think the coolest thing about it is it's kind of like extremely unprofessional. It's super just like, you know, hanging out, doing your thing with your friends. So like you don't have to worry about your game, even though I do. You can just kind of like you can kind of just be there. I can't do that, but you can kind of like just enjoy it. You can just have fun with your friends. You can eat, kind of like bowling if you don't take that seriously. If you do,
That, yep.
I've tried, and it's not not my thing. I'm really bad at bowling, but I like to do it.
I'm a horrible bowler, but I'll go
Yeah.
every single weekend. You talked about how music is now that career. What was your parents' kind of reaction when you kind of told them you're going to take this more seriously? With the music industry, it's a hit or miss, making money or not making money. You kind of have to really get followers, get a following. What was their initial reaction? Were they supportive? Were they kind of like, hey, you kind of got to think logistically about the path forward?
Yeah, they're extremely supportive. I have the best parents in the world, and I mean that. They were so like, my dad is my biggest supporter. My mom's my biggest fan, and my brother. They were they were just like so happy that I was so happy doing music. And I've talked to my dad about this quite a few times, and he's like I love that you're doing this because even if it doesn't go anywhere, you still have this fun time doing it. And he's with me in the studio every time I go, and he loves spending time with me, and I love spending time with him in the studio, and he's there for every single thing. And so he takes it as like an opportunity as well, and he says like, even if it doesn't go anywhere, like we had so much fun doing this. And it will always be this huge part of my life that I adore. And no matter what field I go, whether it's drywall with him, I like I like whatever it is, I will always have music as a huge part of my life. I will always love listening and making and writing because writing is my favorite thing to do. And so they were beyond supportive, beyond excited for me. So that was pretty cool. I was really excited about that.
Does anyone else in your family sing, play music, anything like that?
Yeah, my grandmother sang quite a bit when she was younger. She released, I think, a record. She loves. I'm assuming that's where I get it from because neither of my parents can sing very well. My dad can now because of how much he's involved in it. Like he can sing now. I've helped him with that. I'll take credit. And he'll give me the credit too. And my uncle as well. He sang quite a bit a little while ago, but both of them sang a lot.
Guess your dad's gonna have to do a song with you. I mean, at this
He's
point, if
actually
you're teaching him, he's got to.
he's in a couple of songs. There's in my most recent one, Think About Me. He him, my grandmother, and myself and a few other like people that were in the studio that day did the whoa whoa in the background. So he's there, and then he has a woo in in Haunt My Dreams, and so he's been in a lot. Been in a lot. Him and my brother are some claps. There's I get them involved. And Think About Me was sort of a passion project because like I said earlier, I switched genres quite randomly. I was writing a lot since I wrote in Nashville with some amazing, amazing writers. David Ray Stevens, who wrote Save Me and Son of a Sinner by Jelly Roll. Great. I mean, him, Phil Mosley, and Brandon Hart, amazing guys. Wrote with them in Nashville. It's such a cool opportunity. Um, but since I wrote with them in Nashville in May of last year, a while ago now. It
Long
feels
time
like, yeah,
ago.
that's weird to think about. It's been way too long. But then to when I wrote, I was writing a lot by myself, and it kind of progressively became like more the singer-songwriter, like folk
Mhm.
feel almost, which I didn't know where it came from because I didn't really ever, I didn't really ever listen to that when I was younger, when it was big. But it recently had like this kick. Since you can get like any type of music at any time you want, it kind of has like this really large following that kind of kicked back into it. So like with Noah Kahn and some other alternative artists who are like really blowing up. I was introduced to them through Zach Bryan's EP,
Wow.
Boys of Faith, which was like it was last September, and I had been writing like them, kind of like the Zach Bryan, like more um, story and just like real like moments. And I was trying to find like where this fits in because I don't know if it's country. I don't know if that's what it feels like. And so I searched through different genres, and I find Noah Kahn through actually Noah Kahn and Bon Iver through that record. And I was able to like explore that more, and I was like, yeah, this is what it feels like. This is what like this stuff that I've been writing. And so the first song that I did in that was "Think About Me." Um, I I was that I forgot where I was going with that. I'm so sorry. I ranted a little. Um, but it was kind of like a passion project because I was like, this is who I am, and it feels like the most realist me I can be in the industry. Um, and so I was like, all right, yeah, this is what I'm doing. So I'm gonna get my grandmother in on it. My grandpa, he sang. We didn't use it, but he did sing. Uh, we got everybody in on it, and we went all out on as like real instrument as it could be. So I got a mandolin and a banjo in there. I mean, we fit everything in there. But it was like a passion. Like I really feel like this is where I'm at, and my manager and my team were really supportive, which was amazing. Um, it was easy to switch from from country to folk alternative with them. They were very like, yeah, if that's what you feel like is best for you and that's where you're at, we want that to be what you display. Because I've always kind of like had that at my center is
Mhm.
being as real as possible. That was like on my Instagram. I struggled with that, trying to not conform to like being this fake version of myself that's good on paper, but like it's just on the screen. So I've really like that's what I strive to accomplish is to remain myself and not conform to um, trends or what people are writing like, and just write for myself. Yeah.
With music, sometimes singers have identity crisis. And I only mean that where they kind of only stick to one style. And you kind of made that big jump from genre to genre, but you did it what was best for you. Do you feel when you find new listeners, they're more focused on the songs that you're currently writing in that genre, or they find your old stuff or the other genre and they kind of see a growth in who you are as a singer?
I get told a lot that it was really cool to watch the journey from my first song to my 10th song, my most recent one. Um, they say it's like, I mean, you can just watch me grow in the 2 years so much. And so that's really cool to hear is that they go back and they look at my other stuff because that's I put a lot of time and effort into that, and I wrote all of those, and they're my children. So it's cool to see that they do go back and they appreciate that because I do appreciate them so much. And so I would say a lot of people do look back, but they also find me on social media, and they see that I put out what I'm writing a lot. So like on my stories, and sometimes if I'm really confident about it, a post,
Mhm.
um, I would write a song and I'd put it out, and they people really support it, and they love like what I'm doing there, which is special because like that's a lot of these are just me writing from what's going on in my life. And so I wrote a song recently. It's releasing in September, which is amazing for me. But I'll tell you why. Because it's about my friend Ethan, who passed away a few years ago. Um, he took his own life, and I took the 2 years in between, or almost 3 years now, in between that and writing this song to write a song almost. I've written multiple songs, kind of like about it, right? About that situation, about the feelings that I felt, um, anger at I hate him, at God, at everybody around me, at myself because of that situation. And I took those songs and I appreciated them, but I pushed them back and I wrote a song almost as a letter to him, to Ethan, um, as like what I want to say and what I would have said if I was given that chance and if I knew how he was struggling. And so I put that out on social media because I felt as though um, the words in it needed to be heard. And so putting that out allowed others to hear it, and it people loved it, and they were saying in the comments like, "This saved me." I got multiple like, "This saved me," and I was like tearing up in school reading some of these because like I realized that this feeling that I have and this feeling that I felt during that season, the feeling that Ethan felt, is a feeling that's felt universally, right? It's a lot of people struggle with identity, they struggle with depression, they struggle with thoughts of harming themselves, which um, it is important to discuss and important to address in yourself and with others and checking in on how they're doing. And so being able to see people hearing the words that I want to say to my friend and realizing that through this song, I'm saving others, I'm helping them find closure with loved ones, was probably one of the most special things to realize, and probably I think, genuinely one of the most special things ever was to realize that something that I'm writing has such a huge impact on people's lives. Um, because I took that from hurt. I took that from pain, right? I took that from this pain of my friend, and I put it out completely in myself, right? It was all me in that song, and it helped other people, and that was, I mean, beautiful to see.
And you're given a platform where people are following you, but you can have a message that can help someone express that they may not be able to express, but their way of listening to music is that power to them. So you being able to share that, it kind of shows the growth in you and also as a singer that you're able to take personal things and really put it out there in a form of a medium or a platform in a great way because you're helping others. So With those responses, how has that been connecting wise? You kind of talked about the emotional aspect. Are you able to separate the personal, like you being Malachi, but you being the singer also? Are you able to kind of showcase both sides of you?
Yes, on the platform, you mean? Like on social media?
Just in social media in general, are you all about the work or does you have the mix and balance?
Yeah, I mean, as much as it's my job, it's also my passion. So like music, I hate marketing on social media. And I will say that as many times as I need to because it's kind of aggravating to try and keep up with people. Um, and like, okay, so this is hitting, should I do that? But instead of really trying to do that, I've given up. Really, I've just decided to do how I want to market it. Like I sing next to a rock on a beach, and it's like, oh, it worked. People hear the song and they see who I am, and they see like I'm just having fun singing my song
Yep.
next to a lighthouse. I'm just doing my thing, which I see people doing now too. It's getting like more and more of what people are just doing instead of trying to be like big creative stuff. And so, uh, I, as much as it's, my job to market that or my job to write a song, my job to write a song, uh, it's just who I am. And so I'm constantly writing. I'm constantly having song ideas or playing songs with my friends. So, but I do balance it by living my life and showing that I have a life on social media. I'm pretty proud of it. No, yeah, I do a lot of stuff with my friends. I just hang out, um, do my thing, separate as much as possible the work aspect of it from the enjoyment I have in writing songs. And yeah, I think I've done pretty well at that. Is separating those two things.
The final question I'll ask you for someone that's listening to this interview based on your journey and experience, what tips or advice would you give to someone to overcome obstacles, accomplish their goals, and rise to the challenge?
Hmm. I'd say the biggest reason why I am who I am and why I can do what I do is because I've surrounded myself with people who support me and what I do and who I am, no matter what I do and who I am, really. I surround myself with people who build me up and show me what my faults are, not in a negative aspect, but in a extremely positive, like, hey, let's grow here. Let's grow in this together. And so I would say the biggest thing is surrounding yourself with people who care and refusing to be anybody but yourself. And I think people say that a lot, but it's so true. You can't force yourself to be someone else because it's not who you are. You just got to be yourself. You got to do your thing. If people don't like you for that, it's not really your problem. Like if it is an issue that then I would address that. But I mean, if it's just who you are and that's like that's fine. If as long as you love who you are, which you should because you're made in God's image and God loves you, so you should love yourself. I'm sorry for getting preachy there, but I'd say just be yourself and surround yourself with people who love who that is.
Malachi, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and talking about your rise to the challenge. You're inspiring so many people, and we are excited to see what the future looks like for you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Tune in next time to hear my next guest talk about their rise to the challenge. Remember to follow, subscribe on all major audio platforms. And make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get full length episode in video format. What path do you take to accomplish your goals? You decide.